Hello, and welcome to Joline Knits A Lot. This is my show about knitting and crafting and all the things I get up to. How are you? It's been a couple of weeks since I spoke. The last time, it was just Easter time, and now it's the end of April, and finally, it's starting to feel like spring here in Edmonton. Today is beautiful. It's sunny, the birds are singing. It's still pretty cool, although I hear whispers about our weather warming up quite a bit by next week, so that's exciting. Given that it's kind of a cool morning though, I have on today my Birds of a Feather shawl. This is a shawl by Andrea Mowry, and it is knit in, actually it was first published in Lina magazine, but I think you can buy it individually now. I knit it in some La Bien-Aimée in her merino single base, and then the fluffy stuff is some Lillian Pine, a Surrey alpaca silk blend, and it's a lovely weight shawl, and it's nice for spring mornings like this when it's still kind of cool in the morning, but I know it's going to be warmer later. How are you? What have you been up to? I have had a busy couple of weeks. We had Easter, which meant visiting family, which was really nice. And then last weekend, my younger daughter had a provincial volleyball tournament, which went quite well. Her team improved so much over the time that they were together, and it was really great to see a group of 13-year-old girls playing together and supporting each other and cheering for each other, and no one getting down on each other. It's just a really good experience. But spending a couple of days in a really large gymnasium away from home meant I spent a lot of time knitting. So I have some project to show you that I was working on, but it also meant that I got to visit a new to me yarn store. My younger daughter's volleyball tournament was in Calgary, Alberta, which is about 3 hours south of Edmonton. Here in Alberta, the province where I live, there are two major cities. So Edmonton is one of them. It's the capital, and then Calgary, which is a bigger city, is south of us by 3 hours. And they have a whole different set of yarn shops, which it was great for me to be able to visit Stash. Stash is a relatively new yarn shop. They've been open a few years now, and I have perused their online shop. They have a great selection of different things, but I've never actually been there in person. So this was a great opportunity. My younger daughter is she likes to just wander around and, you know, look at the colors of yarns, and she's pretty supportive, so that's great. And I did bring home a few things that I'd like to share with you now. So the first thing I picked up was this yarn. It's called Yarn Hero. This is their DK base, and it is a yarn that is milled and dyed by them, I believe. It says here the color mix yarn, which this is one of them, collection results in gradients of random striping colors. Colors will shift, marl, stripe, and shift back again. No two skeins are exactly alike. And it reminds me a bit of the Spin Cycle yarns. This one is a DK. It is a 100-gram skein, and I get 240 yards in the skein. So it's listed as DK / light worsted. So I picked up this color because it's the one my daughter liked. It's called Canyon, and I have no idea what it's going to be. But I think it'll go into the stash, and maybe it'll get, I think it would be great for some color work, like maybe a hat or some mittens against like a solid contrasting color. That would have quite a high contrast, I think. That's my plan for it at this moment. But it's quite pretty. I like the colors. I really like these light blues mixed with these sort of deeper lilacs and grays. Very pretty. So that's Yarn Hero, and this is the color mix DK. And then I also picked up a yarn that I have never knit with before, and that is Le Petit Lamb's Wool by Biche et Bouche. This is a beautiful, quite rustic yarn. I got the light gray color. It is said, and the label says, "This is a pure lamb's wool from Scotland, from a family-owned fiber mill. A beautiful, natural, and scoured quality for your dreamy knitting projects." Yes, I've heard such wonderful things about this yarn. It is a fingering weight. In 50 grams, you get 270 yards or 248 meters. So it's quite a lightweight yarn. And I got 4 skeins of this light gray color. And do I have plans for it? Not really, but sort of. I wanted to try this yarn out because I've heard wonderful things about it, and it's soft, but somewhat rustic. I think it'll be great for color work. It's quite a fine yarn. And so I picked up 4 skeins, and my tentative plan right now is to knit a junction sweater by Andrea Mowry. I'm gonna pop a picture right here. But things may change, my plans may change. And I'll let you know when I'm ready to skein up this yarn and get knitting with it. But I did wanna sort of pick some up and fondle it and look at it and see what I thought this would like to grow up to be. So there's probably a colorwork sweater with some Le Petit Lamb's Wool by Bichet Bouche in my future. And I picked up one more thing, because when you're in a new yarn store, you have to sort of take advantage of everything they have to offer. And the one thing that was really catching my eye were some punch needle kits. I've been really interested in punch needles since I took a class approximately a year ago at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. And it was an at-home class, and I really enjoyed the process. And I'd like to, I think, make more things with punch needle. But there's the thing with punch needle that is a little bit, not intimidating, but I think is a little bit of a hurdle for me, is that you do need some equipment. Like you need a frame to stretch your piece on, and depending on what you want to make, that frame could be quite large or not. So I picked up a small kit to give it another try, and I'll see how that goes. If I'm really liking it, I may just decide to get myself a bigger frame so that I can make some things like some cushions, particularly for our new house after we've moved. But we'll see, one thing at a time. For the time being, I did pick up this little kit. It's by, I'm getting a nice glare off my ring light. Thank you, ring light. This is by Urban Acres. It is a small punch needle kit. And the description says it's designed with beginners in mind. This punch needle kit is an easy introduction to the art of punch needle. It includes everything you need. Yeah, so I think that it comes with a pre-stretched fabric frame, so that's handy. And then the yarn and the punch needle, so literally everything you need. I don't think the finished object is very big, so it could be that I just leave it on the frame as sort of a decorative piece, or it becomes a small cushion. I'm not sure, but I did like the colors and the design. So we'll see. I think this will have to wait until after I've moved. A lot of things are gonna have to wait till after I've moved. But it's exciting to have a new craft to try out. And I think that this small piece will be another good chance for me to try out punch needle and see if I like it. Oh, so isn't it exciting to get a chance to go and visit new places? It seems like with the pandemic and limited travel and, I don't know, things being closed down, it's been hard to have those fun experiences. And I think that now that things are opening up and we can do these things more, people are traveling more, which is great. I think that I am enjoying these opportunities more. I don't take for granted the chance to visit someplace new and see something different, because it's been so long, and you never know when those chances are taken away from you. So you have to take advantage when you can. I do have a couple of finished objects to share with you from the last couple weeks. The first is the To Ukraine with Love socks. They were nearly done last time, and I did finish them. They're just some little shorty socks, and they're super cute. The yarn was again from Polka Dot Creek, who is a dyer out of Airdrie, Alberta, which I drove past on my way to Calgary. Yeah, and they're just some little socks. I'm not sure who these will be for. They may just go in my little gift basket, or they may go into my sock drawer directly. Who's to say? But I think they're pretty cute, and I like the way they turned out. So those are my Love to Ukraine from Canada socks. And then I also managed to turn a sock tube into a pair of socks. Again, I'm so glad that I saved my sock tubes to knit on while I'm sort of separated from my main stash, because it means that I'm being able to work some tubes into socks quite quickly. And otherwise I think they would just languish, they would just sit around. But when you pick up a sock tube and you turn it into some socks, it's pretty quick. These rainbow socks are for a friend of mine. This was cranked out of some West Yorkshire spinners, 4-ply, I believe, in the Rum Paradise colorway. It's a very fun sort of rainbow stripe for a friend who would appreciate some rainbow socks. And I like that I've used this cream color from, this is also a West Yorkshire Spinners color. It's called Milk Bottle. I had to think about that. I'm glad that I chose this creamy color because to me it looks like clouds with the rainbows. Yeah, another pair off the needles. Super quick. Again, I did my afterthought heel, which I have plans to do a video on. I also have plans to sort of adapt the heel a little bit. The heel I usually do is a simple heel. It's exactly like a toe. Like exactly, this is a heel and this is a toe from the other sock. So you can see, yeah, they're knit exactly the same. But I have some ideas on how to knit some different heels that I'm going to be giving a try when I'm reunited with my stash and my library, just to see what I like better. And why not? I have all these tubes. It's an opportunity to try new things. So that's another pair of socks off the needles. And I have 2 projects that I've been working on. I don't know if you're aware, but Andrea Mowry, who I seem to knit a lot of Andrea Mowry patterns, don't I? She has a new cowl out. It's called the Inclinations Cowl, and it reminds me so much of the Shift cowl, which so many people have knit and wear all the time, myself included. And when that cowl came out, I was like, oh, I really want to knit one of those. It looks so cute. I think it'd be super wearable. I'd like to do it in different colors from the Shift cowl that I have and wear all the time. But it just so happens that I have an Inclinations shawl on the needles at the moment. So that's sort of putting my desire to knit a cowl on the back burner just for the time being. So this, I think I showed it to you last time. This is the Inclinations shawl. It is knit out of a worsted weight yarn, or a heavier yarn. I am using Dream State, which is a spin cycle yarn. This is some yarn that I picked up for my birthday this year. I had a bunch of points from a store that equated to some money off of a purchase, and so I splurged and I bought myself a bunch of Dream State. And so let me just show you how I'm doing. The Inclinations shawl can use 6 different colors of the Dream State, or you can knit it in 2 colors, or you can knit it in 1 color. It's very versatile. So I started out with, I need to make sure I'm showing you the right side. Yes, right side. I started out using some Melancholy, which is this sort of deep teal color. And the other color is Mississippi Marsala. Now, I don't know if you remember, but I had picked up some second skeins, or some skeins that were on sale from Spin Cycle a number of years ago, and these were some of them. So you can see that this skein had a bit of the spin here was a little bit not as tight as in other places, and so it's a bit fluffy, and in this project it doesn't bother me at all. So the first couple skeins I had were this deep teal and the Mississippi Marsala, And then I started using Rusted Rainbow, which is a deep sort of like reds and oranges into some burgundies. And I believe the other one that I used was Wololo. Oh man, I'm never going to be able to say that right. No, the Family Jewels. I lied. The Family Jewels. Rusted Rainbow and the Family Jewels. This is where I'm at with those skeins. I don't have very much left, but you can see how the colors shift and change through the skeins, even with this very little bit left. So when I switched colors, I got this bold band of sort of a rusty orangey red color, and then the teal came back, and now I'm just working through some shifting colors right now. I think this is going to be a super cozy scarf. I like the shape that I'm getting, and this is a very sort of this is a very common shape of shawl from Andre Maury. It's an asymmetrical triangle, so as you can see, this one point is quite tapered, and then as you go, it becomes more triangular. But the one tail is definitely going to be longer than the other, and I think you can sort of see how that's going now. I do have just a little bit left of these second 2 balls of yarn. I am interested to see how the colors mix and blend. Then once I've completed these 2, I have 2 last skeins. This one is called Rosy Maple. And I do like that there's some black coming in. I think that that's going to give it a nice sort of anchoring weight to the end of the shawl. And I haven't decided if I'm going to start this one in the center of the skein or on the outside. And then the other one I have, this one I believe is Wololo. Wololo? Never going to say that right. You can see the outside is sort of browns and peaches. And the center looks like it's got some nice teals again. So I haven't decided if I'm going to start in the center and go out, or the outside and work in. I don't know. And I guess we'll see. It's going to be a game day decision, I think. But I'm really enjoying it. This is one of those projects where the yarn really makes the project super fun, because you just, as you knit along, you can see the shifting of the colors and how they play together. And that's part of the excitement and the fun of knitting. And I do like how the yarns are pulling back. Like here, we're getting a bit of that green from before, and this red sort of pulls in the reds from earlier. And I also like the mix of cool colors and warm colors. I think that's really, really interesting in a project when you get sort of different palettes of colors. A number of years ago, I was at my very, very first Fiber Festival, and it was a Vogue knitting in Seattle. And I went by myself. I didn't know anyone else there. And I had seen this pattern that I really wanted to make. It was a stripy cardigan. And the thing that really drew me to it was that it mixed like a cool gray stripe and a warm tan stripe with a like vibrant fuchsia and a warm sort of bright orange color. And just the combination of the warm tones and the cool tones really, really appealed to me. And I think I'm seeing that here in this shawl as well, particularly through here, where we get these like cool greens mixed with the warm oranges and golds. I just think that's really interesting. So I like how this shawl is coming out, and I'm looking forward to finishing it. And it's sort of giving me a taste of wanting to knit the Inclinations cowl as well. I'm gonna have a whole Andre Maury library of shawls and cowls. Does anyone else do this? It just seems that certain designers really appeal to me, especially at certain points in my life. I went through a time where I knit quite a few Stephen West shawls, and now I'm sort of seeming to be drawn to Andre Maury patterns. And I guess the appeal for Andre Maury is that she has both sweaters and shawls, so it's nice to be able to mix things and lots of accessories. Anyway, I'll stop talking about Andre Maury because I think you've already figured out that I'm a fan. And I will show you the last project that I have on my needles. This is just a little project that I picked up I started it just before I went to Calgary for my daughter's volleyball tournament, and I knew that I needed something plain stockinette on the needles so I could just knit, and not pay attention to what was going on in my hands, so that, you know, the nervousness and the excitement of watching sports or watching your kids be active or doing something can be sort of dissipated a little bit into the yarn on your needles. Now, a friend of mine had been talking about knitting an outline tank. She's cast on, she's way ahead of me. And I just thought that sounds like a great idea. The two outline tanks that I knit last summer, I wore a lot, and I loved the yarn that I chose for them. So I had a quick look online, as you do when you have no business looking online and you really don't need a new project on the needles, but whatever. And I found that the yarn that I had used for my outline tanks last summer was on sale at a Canadian yarn shop. I like to shop Canadian yarn shops if I can, because shipping is so much less expensive, and also I can get the yarn faster. I mean, also I like to support local businesses, especially ones in Edmonton or Calgary if I can. This yarn shop that I shopped from this time happened to be in Ontario. But again, the shipping can really make a difference, as a lot of you know. Anyway, I picked up the yarn, it was on sale, I got 4 skeins, and I cast on, and I knit just plain stockinette through 7 volleyball games that were all very, very close. It was just a roller coaster weekend. Anyway, let me show you my progress. The outline tee is knit from the bottom up. Uh-oh, now I'm losing stitches. It's knit from the bottom up in the round, so that's great. And then when you get to the sort of armholes, you just divide and start knitting on the front and the back separately. So I cast on my knitting, and it's a twisted rib. And then you just knit and stockinette stitch for a certain length, and then start the front and the back of the body. The dropped open work sort of lacy pattern is a result of dropping stitches at the end. So that won't happen until I'm done all of the knitting, and then I start dropping the stitches. So I think I got quite a bit of knitting done this past weekend. This yarn that I'm using is Kelborn Yarns. I have a label. Kelborn Yarns Mojave. It is a cotton linen blend, 60% cotton, 40% linen, and you get 185 yards in 50 grams. Like I said, I used this yarn last year to make a couple of tanks that I throw through the washer and the dryer all the time, and that yarn has softened up and has beautiful drape, so I was really happy with it. So I was happy to pick it up again, and it just so happened that the color that they had on sale is a bit bright, although I have to say it's sort of matching my birds of a feather, isn't it? It's bright, but for summertime, why not? I have gotten to the point where I've knit the body. It's a cropped t-shirt, but I did make the body longer than is recommended. In fact, I knit until I was almost done 2 skeins of yarn. I have this much left, and I just started the front and the back divide. And then I have 2 skeins left to finish everything from sort of the armpit, the bottom of the armpit up, and then the sleeves I think are just ribbing. So I should have plenty of yarn, even though I extended the length of my t-shirt just a little bit. And yeah, it's so easy. It's just stockinette. And like I said, I've just gotten to the point where I'm knitting back and forth. And it's bright, but I think it'll be fun for summer, yes. A friend of mine told me that peach is very in this summer, so I hope she's right. Actually, it doesn't really matter. The color's fun, and I think it'll be great to wear on sunny days. My outline tee. And that is all I have on my needles today. I have been enjoying the respite of just plain knitting while we're in the throes of getting ready to move. We're still a couple of weeks away, I think, from actually moving, maybe a week and a half. Anyway, I won't bore you with the details, but I think this is the last time that we will be podcasting from this location, because I think by the time I'm ready to podcast again, I should be well and truly moved. So I'm looking forward to showing you my new place. I have lots of plans for videos that I'd like to make once I'm reunited with my stash, and I have a yarn room / office of my own. I'd like to thank you so much for joining me today. It is sunny outside, and I think I'd like to get out there and enjoy the warmth of the sun on my face for a little bit today before I have to start packing boxes. I hope that wherever you are able to enjoy a little time to yourself, time for you, whether that's curled up with a book, or you're knitting, or maybe spending some time outside with the sun on your face. I look forward to talking to you from a new location next time. And in the meantime, I hope you find time to do something you like to do. I know I plan on knitting and packing a lot. See you soon. Bye.